party to stay in the dining hall if they wish, but they certainly can go outside as well. Please remember to return your trays and utensils to the dining room. That's important for us to keep things going on a daily basis. Mr. Walsnovich, Miss Susan, we're all pleased that we can get back into that routine. I wanted to mention something about Mr. Walsnovich. About a week or two ago, he let us know that he thought he would retire at the end of this year. He has been with us almost 20 years, and he had some health issues a number of years ago and again a few years ago, and he just decided that it was better for him to kind of enjoy his time and have this earlier retirement. It would be great for all of you to let him know how much you've appreciated him when you see him in the dining hall. We'll have him come to an assembly later on in the year, and we'll have a retirement program for him. But he's a great guy who truly loves the school and loves working with all of you, and you saw that firsthand this year with all of the packaging they've had to do, and today is just a great day for them too to not have to do that. I wanted to recognize Bert Eccles. We're going to put up this linoleum print he did called Power Play. This past week we received the news that Bert Eccles was awarded a National Gold Medal for this piece. Let's give him a round of applause. Lots of intricate detail in that work. Up behind me, our Headmaster singers will perform this morning. Are you going to introduce them at all, or just I'll just say a brief word, I guess, about the song? So this is National Women's Month, and E-Man thoughtfully spoke with me about our speaker today and arranged that to be coordinated with the National Women's Month. And this is a song that's somewhat of a tribute, I think, to women. So please join me in welcoming our Headmaster singers this morning.
Sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty Before the introduction, I want to remind everyone about the Gender Equality Zoom panel that's tonight from 6:30 to 8, which our guest speaker will be on. You can watch the Zoom at home or sign up to watch the Zoom with your friends in DPS. Those signups to watch in person will close at 12:50 today. The live stream link is in the daily announcements and a prior email from Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly will also send out this link again and the sign up again after assembly. Samar S. Ali is a research professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University and co-chair of the Vanderbilt Project on Unity and American Democracy. With 14 years of experience in international relations and legal practice, Ms. Ali's work focuses on promoting conflict resolution, best practices among communities and nations experiencing polarization because of violence and labeling. Named a White House Fellow in President Barack Obama's administration, Ms. Ali worked closely with U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano and later joined President Jimmy Carter as part of an international delegation observing Egypt's 2012 presidential election. Ms. Ali is also president and CEO of Millions of Conversations, a nonprofit organization that aims to unite Americans around common values for a shared future by fostering dialogue among those who hold different views or beliefs. Please welcome Ms. Ali to the podium.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. This will be my first time giving a speech in a mask, so you'll let me know how I do afterwards. Let's begin with a question. Have you ever heard that in America we believe in liberty, equality, and justice under the law for all? I'd like to see a show of hands. How many of you all have heard this? Okay, so I would say that this is 100% of the room. Have you ever wondered why we say that? And what we mean by that in the 21st century? Show of hands. Well, we're going to wonder about it today. As a woman, I must be honest with you. I have not always been treated fairly and equally. But even in instances where I have been treated equally and fairly, I knew the system that I was either a part of enabling or witnessing was not treating all women fairly and equally. For example, by paying women less than men for the exact same work. And in those moments, while it was not happening to me per se, and while I wasn't the one who designed the system that was problematic, I still couldn't help but ask this next question that I want you now to ask your own selves. Even if I am being treated fairly, and even if I am not the one causing harm, do I still have a responsibility as a friend, as a community member, as a leader, to work towards changing the system for everyone that it touches and that it impacts? For me, the answer is yes. I believe in the American democratic principle that we need to nurture systems that allow every human being to realize their full potential. And in order for this to happen, we must remove obstacles that are in the way. So, okay, great, Professor Ali. We've established that we care, but what can we do about it? These are the next questions. And that leads us to asking the question, what is wrong with the system, and why is it wrong? In answering these questions, the history of how we got here, how a system like this is continuing to cycle along, even though it betrays our values and democratic principles, becomes clearer. And in understanding the problem, the solution presents itself. In my own experience, the element of how power is shared and managed is almost always at the heart of understanding the problem and then therefore designing the solution. How we maintain a competitive society that represents democratic norms and principles while learning to share power in healthy ways that promotes the values of equality and fairness is ultimately our society, our generation's greatest challenge. And I think we're up for it. To renew our social contract, it starts with us, at the individual level, at the communal level, at the national level, and the systematic level. To share power across genders, for example, in healthy ways rather than in unhealthy ways. And this is our shared responsibility, both as women and as men. So how do we fix it? Now that we have answered some of these questions, it is time to figure out how to fix it. How to move from a system that is not working for all to one that is. There is no silver bullet answer to this question. Rather, it is a process. If I leave you with one thing today, it is to note it's a process. This is why I started Millions of Conversations and joined hands with Governor Haslam and presidential historian John Meacham to co-lead the project on unity and American democracy. At Millions of Conversations, as Emmanuel mentioned, we work to bring Americans together, both men and women, around common values and purpose, to work for a shared future. It is here where we don't just bridge those divides, we transcend them. We have designed a new system that operates at the grassroots level to replace negative norms with positive norms. And we do this by disrupting cycles of fear, hate, and violence, and replacing them with a process that leads to unity and sustainable peace. I want to take you briefly through the process that leads to fear, hate, and violence, something that we're seeing so much in our society today and around our world. It starts with name-calling. It starts with demonizing. It starts with otherizing. That's how the vicious cycle begins, the demonizing of the other. That leads to animosity, which then turns to blaming of the other, which then leads to fearing the other, which then leads to anger. That anger hardens many times to hate, and the hate, in some instances, as we've seen far too many times, leads to violence. So how do we disrupt that cycle and replace those negative norms with positive norms? We actually do it by starting at the top. You start at the top by not engaging in bullying behavior and not demonizing and not using those names that tear people down. We disrupt it by starting with that and beginning a 7-step process to unity and to sustainable peace. And that starts with listening. So listening to each other leads to humanizing. Humanizing leads to empathizing. Empathizing leads us to exploring what we share in common. And from there, we start beginning to think about what could our shared future together look like. And then the 6th step is truth and reconciliation, thinking about our past. What do we want to take forward? What do we want to leave behind? And then finally, we appreciate a new beginning around unity and appreciate a sustainable peace. Using this approach combined with our work at the policy level through the Project on Unity and American Democracy, we believe that we can restore trust in our government and our democracy, and arguably most important, in each other. So we move away from tearing each other down in what has become at moments deadly competition, and we move instead into a system of, remember the first thing we started with, equality, liberty, and justice for all. And it is there we will realize true belonging with each other as friends rather than as enemies. This is an all-hands-on-deck moment here. Lead like you mean it, by example. Start with yourselves and work out from there. Our country and our world will benefit greatly if we show up in ways that inspire. If we live by principles that lift up, and where the only thing we are actually tearing down are walls and barriers rather than each other, we will be a peaceful healthy society. So, since this is a school, I've written down 3 homework assignments. They're very brief, very simple, but in my opinion, meaningful. The first is to sign up and take the pledge to listen. You can do so at millionsofconversations.com. The second is I would like to ask all of you to make a 1-minute video about what equality means to you, and to place it online and to share it with your family and friends. And third, I'd like to ask you to be a friend. Help each other stay honest. I want you to help change the narrative here. So if you hear or if you watch someone demonize another, call it out. Don't cancel them. Don't humiliate them, but bring your friend and your community back home to a place with principles and values that represent who you are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samar. I enjoyed getting to know her a little bit this morning. She worked at Bassberry and Sims, and I have a number of friends there who are lawyers, and one very close friend, and I called him this morning, and he has been one of the senior lawyers there and really part of the foundation of that firm for a long time. And it was fun to hear his expression and pleasure that she was speaking here this morning. And I told her that it is really good for a boys' school to think about these topics, because the world is going to allow you, I think, or present to you a very clear structure that women are equal, and that you are going to be competitive in the workplace with them, and to have the kind of respect and empathy and listening skills, topics that you just talked about, will make you a better person and will make this world better. And I thank E-Man again for being thoughtful about bringing somebody like her this morning. The topic of the club that he heads, Tearing Down the Walls, is also, I think, a really important topic, in that if all of us could kind of tear down walls around us and not have that kind of impediment to understanding and appreciating one another, we'd have a better place. Hope you'll come to the program tonight and talk to E-Man if you have questions about it. All right, we have 2 final topics to do. Nikko, if you'd please come up here. Nikko is going to play a piece by a Russian composer named Kusevitsky, and join me in welcoming him over on my right. Thank you. That was terrific, Nikko. Lastly, the athletic results from last week. Our Frisbee team in their first outing defeated USN 17-4. Our rifle team hosted arch rival St. Louis University High School. The Big Red shot past the Billikens behind a personal best performance of 10th grader Robbie Brown in the three-position headliner match. In the second match of the day, an Olympic standing short course, the SLU squad outshot the Big Red first squad while Captain Max Buenajora and Robbie Brown won the gold and bronze individual positions of the match. The first runner-up junior team in the final week of the Plattsburgh Small Bore of national matches, Montgomery Bell, with a score of 15-36. Baseball, our varsity team defeated Hillwood 16-0. The varsity tied CPA 4-4 due to darkness. The game couldn't be finished. JV defeated Good Pasture. JV lost to Brentwood. Junior School A and B won their 3 games this past week. The varsity tennis team started off their season with a strong win of 9-0 over Lipscomb, all singles and 3 doubles, all won. The lacrosse team defeated Franklin High School and JP2 this past week, and then lost a tough game to St. X this past Saturday, 15-8. Our JV team defeated Franklin 10-9. 8th grade lacrosse defeated Father Ryan, or Irish team, 10-7. Track and field went out to what's called the Early Bird Endurance Meet held at Brentwood Academy. Samuel Trumbull broke the NBA freshman 800 record with a 2.01.50, placing him 4th in that meet. Mitchell Chaffin, Ollie Chan, and Jack Montgomery claimed sub-5 times in the 1600 meters. William Holloman placed 1st in the 3200. Also posting strong times in the 800, Bodie Seegers, John Powers, Jackson Tallett, Carter Osborne, William Dean, Simon Englert, and Edward Settle. Also in the 1600, Niles Meltson and Will Elrod. Our soccer team had a great victory, too, on Friday night. They opened up their season with a 3-0 win over Overton, a very good team, and they were pleased to see Coach K there in the corner. The JV soccer team defeated Overton 2-0. Our golf team lost their season opener but came back and defeated Brentwood Middle 133-138. That's the news for this week. Please help us out in the dining hall this week and make that work well. I appreciate your attention.